Hello everyone. Today I Akashdeep Singh of Team 7 and with my group we are here to present the topic social changes after the pandemic. And here are the name of my team members: Akashdeep Singh, Dilpreet Singh, GURBIR, SAGWAN and LOVEPREET Singh. So with the beginning I would like to start with the introduction. So what's the social pandemic after the COVID-19? So when the COVID-19 outbreak, it has affected all the segments, such as it has affected the people's it have affected many older peoples from their families, and it affected the economy of country, and also many early evidence indicates that the health and economic impacts of the virus are being borne disappropriately by poor people. For example, the homeless people, because they may be unable to safely shelter in a place and they were highly exposed to the virus, so they were also affecting the COVID-19 at that time, and they were also suffering after the pandemic has struck. So next I will move to what this presentation will cover. This presentation will cover the job depletion after the pandemic and the education system, that how the previous education system was teaching students and how at present, and what were the difficulties the teachers and students were facing at present time. And then we will shift to the rapid rise of sanitizer producing industries, that how they impacted the economy, and why the demand uh why the demand and supply of the sanitizers increased drastically. So now I shift my mic to Gurbir Singh, who will describe the job depletion very deeply.
Thank you, Akash. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Gurpreet Singh, and I'll continue the presentation from here. So, during the past 2 years, many people's job were affected due to COVID-19. Many of them lost their job for several months because of the government restrictions that people were not allowed to go outside of their homes or their premises. The unemployment rate increased during the pandemic because of the fear of getting sick at work after the pandemic. People were very scared to go to the to go to the work because they thought they will get sick and uh, their life was threatened. They will lose their family. There was People were very scared. People were pe- After the after the pandemic, people faced many challenges at work. Like now they had to work outside of their comfort zone because during the pandemic, work went online and people got used to working from their homes. And um, this was because people were working in their comfort zone and they didn't like the idea of working uh, when things were back to normal. They didn't like the idea of working back to their buildings and offices. So that was very difficult for the people after the pandemic. When people lost their jobs, it resulted in it resulted into loss of per capita income. Per capita income is a term used in economic, which is the average income of every person calculated annually. This affected economies of all countries worldwide. Many of the countries were affected with this. Many jobs were dependent upon other people's jobs indirectly, such as when work went online and buildings went empty. There was no need for people who used to clean the buildings. So people who used to do the cleaning work, they they lost their job. They were unemployed at that time. This resulted in unemployment indirectly for those people. Thank you. And now I'd like to pass on the mic to my teammate Akash Deep Singh.
Thank you, Gurveer Singh. And I would like to talk about the education system of India. And at that time, the education system of during COVID-19, the major difficulties was faced by the teacher and student and during the pandemic because schools were closed and they made still they had to continue the studies because many of the student career would have been destroyed if they stopped studying. So the government decided to begin online learning in which the schedule will be the same as the live class, but the teacher will hold the course on the online platforms such as Zoom, Google Meet, and many more. This type of education has many disadvantages than advantages, which I will discuss in the following essay presentation. I will discuss about the education system in India at that time. I will only like to discuss about the Indian education system because I am not having the more education about the other countries' education system at that time. In India, many people are unable to purchase smartphones and laptops, which means the children are able to study at that time. And the internet is very costly in India, which means that someone will not pay enough money, he is not having enough money to buy a smartphone, he will not be able to obtain if someone buy a good mobile phone, but at last he will not be able to buy a good network, which is our team, which would be if he buy a poor network, this will be lagged in the videos and audio. Many students and also there are many crazy students who are disturbing the entire class. The parents who are having some money, they buy smartphones for the students, but those students were not studying very well. They started disturbing the class by playing the songs in the class and also by singing the songs. And there were many mishappenings occurring in the class during that time, as the groups were maintained by the class in charges and teachers to deliver a good education system. And all there were girls and boys were in the same group, but the boys started taking the personal number of the girls and distributing them to the other boys. And this this time at that time, the girl life was very disappointing. And in India, receiving a phone call from a boy at a very small age is very misinformation is very wrong. And at
Okay,
that
thank you, Kash. So now Lovepreet Singh will cover the other part of the presentation, the medical effects were which were faced after the pandemic. Yes,
Thank
Lovepreet.
you. My name is LOVEPREET Singh. Today I'm here in my with my group members for talking about the effects of the COVID-19 on medical industry. Across the globe, our healthcare system were not designed to deal with this crisis. As everyone know, our system are not too much developed. An unpredictable large-scale health challenges that require urgent mobilization of resources and affects the whole population. Debating the system's ability and efficiency to deal with it is therefore not relevant per session. In many ways, the COVID pandemic is dramatically opposed to the direction that healthcare system, particularly in developed countries, have been taking over the past years. As the direct impact of COVID-19 was that these additional layers of impact related to COVID-19 could result in $125 billion to $200 billion in incremental annual US health system. So now I want to so now I will shift the mic to Harsh.
So, hello guys. Today I would like to talk about the effect of COVID-19 on the production of the sanitizers. So, before the pandemic, people don't have much knowledge about the sanitizer, and the demand of the sanitizer is very less. People usually use the soaps to wash their hands and to clean their hands. But when the COVID come, people were so hesitated at that time, and they were so also panicked, and they started caring about their health at that time. So so the experts suggested the use of the sanitizers as a preventive measures against the COVID-19. So people people started buying the sanitizers and started the use of sanitizer to clean their hands and use it as a preventive measures. So it's at that time the demand of the sanitizer dramatically increased. There was a rapid increase, so the production of the sanitizer is also increased. The industry start making the lot of sanitizers. So to meet the demands, some medical stores also put a limit on the selling of sanitizer. Like they put a limit to buy two sanitizer for each person. So in this way, everyone can buy a sanitizer. Moreover, the demand is not reached that time. So some experts also suggested the use of alcohol-based sanitizers, and many other companies like liquor stores started making the sanitizer, which is basically called alcohol-based sanitizer. And it was found that it was more effective than the simple sanitizer. So people started buying more alcohol-based sanitizer because it is more effective. So now Dilpreet Singh will conclude the topic.
Hello to everyone. I'm Dilpreet Singh, and I'll be concluding the our essay on life after pandemic. So, to encapsulate, coronavirus has brought up some serious consequences. This virus was so deadly that it took millions of lives, and the government all of the world declared a global lockdown, which led to many social issues such as students' studies were being suffered, whereas on the grown-ups adults, their workaholic life was facing some serious consequences as its effect, which further led to some um, consequences such as job recession and dissolving of net worth throughout nation. However, the occupation which did not face any negative issues was medical field and pharmaceutical industries, which kept on escalating. In conclusion, coronavirus has caused concern among people from all walks of life around the world because it was one of the most lethal types of virus ever encountered by humankind, and it was the only reason it claimed an incalculable number of lives, not only humans but also animals. Things did not stop here. Every group was affected by their problems. For example, young teens' future was at risk. So, this was the end of our presentation. Thank you.
So at last, I would like to conclude that the COVID-19 outbreak affects all segments of population, like it particularly detrimental to all members of social groups and the most vulnerable situations, such as it continues has affected the population, included people living in poverty situations and older persons with disabilities, youth, and indigenous peoples also. Early evidences indicated that the health and economy has been affected by the impact of virus and being born dis disastrous drastically in poor people. For example, homeless people, as I have said previously in the beginning of the presentation, that they were not able to have a proper shelter, so they were highly exposed to the danger of the virus. Moreover, people without access to running water, refugees, migrants, or displaced persons also stand to suffer disappropriately both from the pandemic and aftermath, whether due to limited or you can say for unable to move from their particular area, the fewer employment opportunities were also increased at that area. And that's all from our presentation, and thank you everyone for listening.